Okay, so here it is, the long-awaited body scrub video. I'm starting off by weighing out my oils. First, I'm adding 10 grams of castor oil, then 16 grams of stearic acid. Stearic acid is great because it helps thicken and stabilize the texture of the final product. Next, I'm adding 10 grams of coconut oil. This helps tone down the cleansing strength of the soap, and then 20 grams of shea butter, which also softens and conditions the skin. Once everything's measured, I go ahead and melt the oils together. Now we're moving into phase B of the recipe. Here, I'm weighing out 20 grams of glycerin. I like to go slowly with glycerin since it's sticky and not so easy to pour back into the container if you overshoot. To that, I'm adding 2 grams of Sepamax Zen. Sepamax is a gelling agent that will help thicken the mixture and give us that creamy texture we're going for. I usually bloom it in glycerin for a couple of hours or overnight, but in this case, I just use the immersion blender to speed things up. Although, I do recommend stirring it in first to avoid that annoying powder cloud flying everywhere. You can see it's already forming a nice glossy gel. This will really help stabilize our base and give it that luxurious, soft feel. Here I'm measuring out my soap base. For this recipe, I used 40 grams. This base helps make the scrub foamy and gives it a really lovely cleanse. I actually made this coconut milk soap base from scratch, and there's already a full recipe for it on the channel. It's called DIY Natural Coconut Milk Liquid Soap Base, so feel free to check that out if you're curious. Next, pour your melted oils into the gel and start blending everything together. If you have a narrower bowl, or if you double the recipe, blending gets a lot easier. I ended up with a few splashes here because my bowl was a bit wide. Once your gel and oils are fully combined, it's time to start adding in your soap base. I like to do this gradually, bit by bit, instead of all at once. It just makes blending much easier and gives you a smoother, more even texture. You can warm up the soap a little if you want, but for this small batch, I didn't find it necessary. Here, I'm scraping down the blender with my spatula so nothing goes to waste, and now we've got this lovely, velvety, creamy base ready for the scrub. Now on to phase C. First, I'm weighing out 20 grams of cornstarch. That amount felt right for the texture I was aiming for. Cornstarch helps absorb a bit of the oil and makes the base feel more malleable and less sticky. It's not the strongest oil absorber. There are better options like allantoin, but in this recipe, it balances out nicely because of the soap and oil ratio. It really helps with that Play-Doh texture we love. Next, I'm adding 50 grams of sugar, which is about 25% of the total formula. That amount gives a gentle scrub effect, but in future batches, I might bump it up to 30% for more of that polishing action. Or maybe even experiment with sugar-free versions using other exfoliants. Once the sugar is in, I just mix it thoroughly to make sure it's evenly distributed. Then I'm adding in a few drops of vanilla fragrance. Totally optional, but it adds a nice touch. You can also add 1 gram of vitamin E oil, which is about 0.5%. It's not a preservative, but it is a good antioxidant that helps prevent oxidation in your formula. In this small batch though, I chose to leave it out since I knew I'd be using it up quickly. And now look, we have this lush, velvety, pillowy, soft scrub texture. It's thick, it's rich, and it's got just the right amount of grit.